Today's lesson we are going to be looking at different polynomial functions. We are going to specifically look at polynomials in one variable. Of course, you know that variable means letter. So if it's in one variable, that means it contains only one different letter in the whole entire expression or equation. The degree of the polynomial is the greatest exponent of whatever given variable you're looking at, so the highest exponent. And then the leading coefficient is the number that's in front of the term with the highest degree. Coefficient means the number that's in front of the term, and in this case it's the one that has the highest degree is the leading coefficient. It does not have to be the one that's listed first in the expression. But you want to look for the term with the highest degree and look for the number that's in front of that term. Okay? So here's an example of a constant equation. By the way, this happens to be the equation for a horizontal line at y equals 6. So constant equations are going to be horizontal or vertical lines. Another example would be x equals 6. Okay? And by the way, the graph of this is a horizontal line at 6, and the graph of this is a vertical line at 6, just so you know. Okay? Linear equations, by the way, have degree 1 every single time, and they are sort of often in the form y equals mx plus b. They have a y in them and an x in them. They have to have both a y and an x. It might be just y equals x without that plus 6 there. But a linear equation is like that. And of course, you know the graph for a linear equation would go something like this, or it might tilt the other way. Okay? Quadratic equations have degree 2 every single time. And degree 2 means they typically have an x squared in there. It might not be x that's squared. But quadratic equations have degree 2. And by the way, this is also a quadratic equation. If I just have y equals x squared, that is still quadratic. So it might not have the x in it, and it might not have the 6 in it, but it does have to have an x squared in it. And of course, we know that quadratic equations, their graphs are parabolas. And it might be a parabola that opens up or down, but it is a parabola. Okay? And I forgot my 2 right here, degree 2. Cubic equations, obviously, then, have degree 3. Here's an example of a cubic equation. It has to have an x cubed in it. And cubic equations have graphs that look something like this. Okay? So that's what they look like. Okay? And then, by the way, I don't know if it's on your note sheet or not, but there is quartic ones. And of course, they have degree 4 if you want to add this. And they have to have an x to the 4th in them. And their graphs look something like that, just so you know. Okay? All right, moving on. All right, here is an expression, and we want to be able to identify the degree and the leading coefficient. So the degree is you're going to look for the highest exponent in this list, or in this expression. This is the term that has the highest exponent in it. It has an exponent of 4, so the degree is 4. Here's the exponent right here. The leading coefficient is the number that's out in front of that term. So the number that's out in front of that term, of course, is a 7. All right, moving on to the next one. Again, looking for the highest exponent, noticing that this only has one variable in it, which is good. It has all z's in it. This is the highest exponent. And so it has a degree of 3 because that's the highest exponent, and the leading coefficient of 9. Over here, and again, the leading coefficient does not have to be the first one, just so you know, but you want to look for the term with the highest degree in it. This one actually is not possible because you have more than one variable in here. You have a's and b's, and so I am just going to write not possible, more than one variable. So I really can't determine the degree of this expression or the leading coefficient because of that. Okay? And then in the next one, Again, you want to look for the highest exponent, which is right here. The highest exponent is 4, and the number that comes out in front of there, or that's not written, but it's assumed to be there, is a 1. And notice that the leading coefficient in this case was not the first term in the expression. It doesn't have to be. That's not what the word leading would mean in this case. Okay, and we will see you in the next part.